Hey October, just want to make a quick video talking about the Sega Genesis Mini, a little clone console that's supposed to be coming from Sega next year. And a lot of people are talking about the Nintendo 64 Mini from Nintendo, but they haven't even announced that yet, although it would be really awesome. But Sega's come out and told us about the Genesis Mini, which they're bringing out next year. And no one's really talking about it, so I just want to kind of get my thoughts real quick on what games should be in it. First of all, I think it should be around the same price as the NES Mini at $60 with two controllers, one more than the NES Mini. It's sitting around 30 games would be really cool. More would be better, but Sega's pretty good about pricing their games much cheaper than Nintendo does, so it's possible. But I'd like to see two controllers for $60 with 30 games. So we're going to talk about those games right now. So first off, we have Sonic the Hedgehog on Genesis, the original one. Pretty obvious it has to be there for this collection, along with Sonic 2. It's just a classic game, both of those, along with Sonic 3. All three of those games have to be on there. They're, really important to Sega's success with the Genesis. I'd also like to see Sonic and Knuckles included, not really as an individual game of the 30, but just kind of on top of Sonic 3, so Knuckles can be a playable character and finish that game. Up next, I have a few Konami games. Contra Hardcore, great Contra game. Personally, I prefer it over Contra 3 on Super Nintendo. Just a little bit better in my opinion. Next, I have Castlevania Bloodlines. Not my favorite Castlevania game, but it's the only one on Genesis, and it's great. If you haven't played it, definitely check it out. The problem is it's not really easy to play it nowadays because it's only on Genesis. If you know a way to play it on another console or something, let me know without emulating it, of course. But yeah, great Castlevania game, definitely needs to be in there. Next is Rocket Knight Adventures, another great game from Konami. Just has to be in there as well. But one that isn't included is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist. That would be awesome to have in there. But much like Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo Classic, licensing is probably going to keep that Konami great out of the collection. Next is Earthworm Jim. It has way better music on the Genesis version, so that would be a great one to add in. Not to mention, it's a really good game as well. Next up, Mega Man: The Wily Wars. The only Mega Man game on the Genesis. It was, the first three Mega Man games from NES remade in 16-bit. They look great. They play a little bit better. But the graphics are much better. Unfortunately, there was no physical copy in the US. It was only on the Sega channel, so it's kind of hard to play, and it really hasn't got a re-release, only on Genesis. So this would be a great opportunity for Capcom to put it back out there so people can get a chance to play that one. Next up, some Sega games. Comics Zone, great game. It's gotten a little bit more attention in recent years. So that would be a nice one to add in there. Shadow Dancer, that's a really hard game, kind of like Shinobi. It's in the similar series. Another good one, very challenging though, but probably the best one in my opinion. Needs to be in there. Next up, an arcade classic, Miss Pac-Man. A simple game, but just popular with everyone. It's an easy to pick up and play game. Next up, a couple puzzle games. Columns, the original one, of course, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Two great ones. I prefer Mean Bean Machine. Next, I have some RPGs to talk about. Phantasy Star 2, followed up by Phantasy Star 4. Two good ones on there, great ones, I should say. I prefer Phantasy Star 2 over 4, which is a strange opinion, but that's my personal preference. But both of them definitely should be on there. Next is Landstalker, an isometric RPG. Great one, along with Beyond Oasis, Crusader of Sinti, which I probably kind of said that one wrong, along with Shining Force 2. And the reason for Crusader of Sinti is that it's over $200. It's one of the most expensive games on Genesis. and I mean, that alone would really make the purchase that much better. It's an action adventure RPG, great game, just needs to be on there, included with the whole bunch. Next up, just a few random ones kind of thrown in. Golden Axe 2 and Streets of Rage 2. Obviously, in my opinion, the best ones of their series on Genesis. Toe Jam and Earl, another great game. Mortal Kombat 3 and Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition. Two fighting games. Definitely need some fighting games on there. And Mortal Kombat was really big on Genesis. Street Fighter was probably more on Super Nintendo. It's kind of mixed, but both great games. Need them on there. Next is Virtual Racing. I mean, this right here is probably the greatest 3D game on Genesis, and it's a good one too. Good racing game. Just toss that one in there as well. Next up is Rise Star, another good platformer game. It has gotten more popular in recent years, so just toss that one in there as well. Next is Thunder Force 3. It's hard to choose between 2 and 3 for this list, but I went ahead with 3. Great music, great shoot 'em up, great game overall. Next is Herzog Zwei, and that is a strategy game RPG. Probably should have thrown that one at the other RPG games, but it's kind of different. It's a strategy game, and it's exclusive for the Genesis. Great game, kind of expensive as well. So nice to have that one in there as well. Final 2, Kid Chameleon, popular game, and Battletoads Double Dragon. This one could be a little bit tough trying to get the rights from Microsoft, but I think Sega should be able to get that done. They've got a pretty good relationship with Microsoft to get that, and then the Battletoads Double Dragon game itself. I think it'd be a nice little addition thrown in there. It's a great combination game. So I tried to get a wide variety of great titles from Sega and third parties, while also trying to represent many genres and trying not to take too many games from the Sega Genesis Classic Collection that released earlier this year on PlayStation, Xbox, and of course recently on the Nintendo Switch. But I'd like to see this come out maybe mid-2019, June, July, around the $60, like I said, with 2 controllers, 6-button preferably, obviously for games like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, with the 30 games that I mentioned here. Although a small hope is that they do sell extra controllers. Unlike the Super Nintendo Classic, the 2 controllers are the only ones you can get with that. So I hope it's like the NES Classic, how you could buy extra controllers. It's not a huge deal, but I'd be happy to see that. But what do you think? Do you like my list? Let me know down below what you want to see in the Genesis Mini. Also, I've had some friends tell me they'd like to see me do a game room tour. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you didn't hate this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.